Hello, everybody, and welcome to the newest indoor adventure in Monster Noire. Death in Time? I don't know. Or is it the Death in Time or Death of Time? Let me check. Death of Time. So, as you know, a character who carries a wristwatch, I'm feeling a little skeptic. Today is June 10th, 2020, and you are loved. And that is a very important thing that we like to remind each and every single one of our viewers at the beginning of each and every single one of these sessions. And considering that this is Pride Month, I'd like to let all of you know that we believe in you and we understand that the choices that you are making are the best ones you got. So just keep believing in yourself, because we got your backs. If this is your first time hearing messages such as this and you'd like to find out more, consider going to youtube.com/indooradventures, where we have all of our VODs posted. We also put up audiocasts wherever audiocasts are made available for free. And speaking of things that are being made available for free, if you go to patreon.com/indooradventures, you can find yourself in front of our delightful after show called Nights in the Courtyard, where we answer questions not only from the community, but also from each other. So, if you have any questions that you would like to give unto me, our Dungeon Master, or any of these other fine players, consider checking out our Patreon to get the answers. Or, if you just go and check out our Discord, the link is found below. Or, hey, if this is an audio cast, it's in the description of this video. Or audio cast, because I was calling out audio people specifically. Professionalism is what we strive for. There's also a link there, if you will notice, to the Shelter in Play bundle. It's over $170 worth of content for the low cost of $10, and also goes to help support a wonderful Child's Play charity. So if you are interested in helping support a good cause, as well as get access to some sweet tabletop RPGs, consider checking out the Shelter in Play bundle linked over. Yeah, I think that is the right. Nope, that direction. Haha, did it. But speaking of having finished it, I am done with my intro. So, hey Jet, or hey Satan, who are you playing tonight?
Hi, I am Satan, and tonight, well, I usually play Lilith, the vampire monster, but tonight I might not. Who knows? We don't know. And that's all I got.
Hey everybody, I'm Wings, also known as Danae Keener. Usually I'm playing as Haka, the occult detective, but who knows who I'm playing tonight. Ooh.
Hi, I'm Jen. I'm playing Beltane Offord, or I usually do on such a night like this, but who knows where our adventures will go.
And hello, I am the Indoor Adventurer, and tonight, maybe, possibly, I'll be playing Kane, the Phantom Thief Lich. Or maybe I'll be playing somebody else entirely. I'm not really sure. GB just told us it was an improvisational experience. So, GB, take us away.
I'm Graybeard of Graybeard Tavern, and let me tell you, this is our monthly game where we made up the rules the night before. We were going to play it as a one-shot. We one-shot it. We loved it. We're playing now for over a year, right?
Yep.
Made it over a year at this point, and so you can come and join us. One of the things that we really love about the show is it's pretty free form. I don't put much into it. I come to it with a couple ideas. I play off the talents of these beautiful people, and we create amazing stories as we go. It tries to show people that you don't need detailed maps and crazy stuff. Just come with a couple ideas and just run with it. So with that said, tonight the characters are going to be different characters, all but one, and we don't know who quite yet. But we will start off as themselves, or as their normal characters, and we are gonna fade into a backstory, and we're going to, when we get to a certain point, you all are going to become people in that backstory, and we are going to fill out the backstory tonight live as it goes, and it will become game canon You will be the important people in this person's life at this important moment. So I got goosebumps. With that in mind, a couple things about the world. I almost always forget this. Monster Noire is set in a world where there is a veil which covers the world, the planet, the eyes of mundanes, so they don't see trolls and pixies and fairies and the vampires. They all just look like normal people. Our favorite is the newsies. The newsboys are almost all goblins everywhere. And so certain people can see through the veil, and people who are monsters or from beyond the veil or whatnot, they orcs, trolls, and things, they can see each other, but they try to exist in the world as it is. Think Hellboy, Supernatural, that kind of thing. So, with that said, our folks find themselves on a ship, a big luxury ship, and they are crossing an ocean. And currently, we don't know which ocean. We don't know where they're headed. We, as the audience, they do. But the players do not at this point. So that's what I have to say. Is this is going to be, I'm pushing the improv envelope on them tonight, because they have no idea what's going on. So, but they all agreed to it, and I love it. So huge steamship, massive smokestacks trailing, wooden deck chairs, shuffleboard, drinks being served, waiters and waitresses in suits and uniforms. And let's just start with, let's say it's evening. Let's say it's like there's a dance going on the promenade of the ship, which is a beautiful wood bedecked ballroom within the ship itself, like a top deck where it opens out onto a main deck, so you can walk out under the stars. And they've got little pavilions set up on deck too, so you can, even if it were to rain, you could be outside in this event. Lilith, where are you at during this gala aboard the ship?
I will be dancing with my dear darling Belte.
Would you like to, for the audience and whatnot, tell us how Lilith happens to be adorned and what she looks like this evening?
Lilith, she's a very pale vampire, as you would expect from the undead. She has flawless dark blood red lipstick, uh, and a very smoky type makeup. Her hair is impeccably done, very luscious finger waves as of the 1920s, and a very form-fitting, luxurious black gown. Um, as she is dancing across this floor with her dear, dear friend Belte.
Beltane, what do you look like, and how are you adorned this fine evening?
Beltane, he is a tall, fey man. He's, if you could see beyond the veil, he would have blue skin, black sclera, yellow eyes, very handsome looking. He has a black tux, white shirt, and he has his shoes shined to the nine, and he's letting Lilith lead across the floor because he doesn't mind and he enjoys the moments with her that he can have, and this is a long deserved break in his mind.
Harker, you have recently come off quite the experience, the final revenge of a long haul for this character. Where and what are you doing aboard this ship?
I think that Harker and Kane are actually temping as musicians. However, Harker's taking a smoke break, and she's standing on the back of the boat. And is it nighttime?
Yeah. Yep.
She's standing on the back of the boat, looking at the moon, and just sort of, just taking slow drags from her cigarette. Harker is an average-sized lady, though she tends to wear suits and more masculine clothing. I think that she actually has her suit jacket over her shoulder as she kind of leans over the railing. And in the darkness, just for a moment, there's a glint of red in her eye before like a cloud, or like a cloud passes over the moon, and there's a glint of red in her eye, and then the cloud passes again, and the moonlight shines back on her, revealing her curly blonde hair and immaculate red lipstick.
One thing, what color suit does Harker normally wear, or are they wearing a different color suit this evening?
I think that this must be a black tie event, like something important's going down. So she's wearing black with, like, the white shirt underneath, not trying to stand out too much.
Okay. And Lilith, a detail, I don't know why these are important to me, but you said you have a form-fitting dress. Does it have brocade or any adornment, or is it just like,
It does. It's almost like fades into like a sparkling material. So it almost starts as like a void black, then fades into almost what looks like a dark, glittering night sky. Um, and she has a very beautiful jewelry that matches her outfit, sparkling in the moonlight.
and this jewelry, is it begemmed, or is it more of a silver gold, or some,
It's it's silvered with very because she doesn't wear gaudy jewelry. She won't wear like things that are just like all diamonds or anything, but it's simple, very beautiful silver jewelry with very precisely placed gems, maybe some garnets in there or rubies to match the red of her eyes, if you can see through the veil.
Excellent. And that brings us to Kane. Where is Kane, and what is Kane adorned with this fine evening?
So it's a black tie event, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. He has the same clothes he has on normally.
I knew it was coming, but I had to ask.
He has like a very loose fitting like white long sleeve shirt, but he's rolled the sleeves up close to his elbows. He has this wonderfully ornate God, what is the name? Accordion. That's the one that he has on his chest, which someone actually gave to him. Someone in this very party. I believe it was Beltane who gave him this. And he just like has his suspenders on. He's wearing a red tie that's a little bit looser. Like he definitely
bow
is,
tie,
like,
or tie.
a tie, just like a little bit like pulled out. They didn't really need an accordion player. They more like asked Rue to join, but Kane thought that referred to the both of them, and it was already too late. They were on the boat. He couldn't just like go home and change. He didn't have anything else to wear besides his current attire. And I think that right now he would more be... If Lilith is dancing, then Kane is playing. because
Okay.
he enjoys he just enjoys being able to be a part of this bigger band. But Lilith, you can definitely tell in the background of most of these songs there is an accordion that is trying to become like the most prominent instrument. Like, see if he can get the other musicians to improvise just a little bit, enough for him to get in there.
All right. All right. I'm assuming that if Beltane and Lilith are sweeping the floor, it is some type of more of like a waltz, or are you guys cutting
Could
a
do a
rug?
salsa for you.
I think it would either be a waltz or a tango. I think those are their two favorite dances to do together.
All right. As I cannot or will not inject an accordion into a tango, we're going to say that it's.
I get shooed away for this song.
We will say it as a waltz, and as the beats of the piano are going, the accordion is trying to outplay the piano in
Just trying to
pitch.
take the lead.
Yep. So yeah, I love you, hype. Come on, I just can't without it being like Weird Al Yankovic, you know.
Yeah.
It turns into polka.
I know, and that's what I mean. I can't. I just can't. Not with Lilith and Beltane. So.
Well, I think that's like, as it's like trying to happen, Lilith just keeps shooting Kane the same looks that she normally does, and him just like, I don't know, I'm not doing anything wrong.
Okay.
I think that Kane
Troublemaker.
gets shooed off to the side, and Harker like intercepts him. She's like, "What are you doing? Clean yourself up!" And she like shoos him off to
These
go.
are the
and,
only clothes I had, and can you believe they shooed me away?
She like throws her own jacket over him, and like she's gonna go clean him up.
All right. All right. So, what other beyond the veil creatures are here? In the ballroom, or even just on board?
Well, Lilith would obviously have her entire retinue.
Who
So
did you bring?
orcs, and trolls, and maybe a few like let's see. What do we say we have? Maybe a few shadow creatures. That'd be
Okay.
cool.
All right.
Let's bring in our Medusa sax player.
Yeah, there's a Medusa sax player that she knows she loves, so she brought her on board with her.
All right. So
She's who takes the lead when Kane
Yeah.
gets shooed away.
Yeah. She's amazing.
So with I'm gonna go ahead and propose that Lilith has at least minorly funded some of this sea voyage. Hence, you've been able to insert your own people on board in a big
Oh
way.
yeah. Yeah. That band is mine.
Okay, that's perfect. So back home at the jazz club, it's like two gnomes with pots banging on the stage.
Backup jazz band. They're not like as good as my normal jazz band, but there's a backup jazz. I gotta keep appearances even when I'm not there.
I know. I just funny.
There's also two gnomes with like
maracas
in the back somewhere. Like, it's our
Okay.
time to shine now.
She's not here. We could get
We're
on
just
the
doing
accounting
poetry while you're gone.
Yeah, slam
Slam
poetry.
poetry.
So we know there's at least one troll, one Medusa, a few orcs, probably a half dozen goblins,
Shadow creatures.
and at least 2 to half a dozen shadow creatures roaming
Mhm.
about.
Mhm.
Kane, what kind of creatures are you seeing here? Not that Kane sees beyond the veil very well, but
It's kind of fuzzy.
mhm.
I would say he probably... That slime from the jazz club is there. They're just hanging out. I feel like he probably saw a satyr or two. Like, if this is like a pleasure cruise kind of deal, obviously satyrs are gonna be here. This is a party boat.
Yeah.
Parker? Oh, oops.
Yeah. No, like just that one specific slime, and then satyrs.
Who was like Norm in the jazz club.
He's always there.
Always there. And when he heard that there was a cruise and the band were going, Lilith was hosting, he came up with the slime funds to somehow get aboard.
You can't stop him. He will just move through, like, no, just like go over you and then keep going. He's made of jello.
So I just see him like stuck to the side and like rolling his way up and oozing onto the deck.
Yeah.
All right, Harker, what sort of creatures are on board? Not necessarily that Harker is seeing, but as we fill out our supernatural element on board the ship.
I think she is because she gave up her amulet.
Oh, I know she can, but it doesn't necessarily have to be who you've seen. I just wanted to
It
make
doesn't necessarily have to be narratively who she's looking at right now.
Okay.
I think that there's a were-owl who owns a bookshop in our local neighborhood. I think that there are actually humans here, but they have magical abilities. They are able to see beyond the weave, and they are involved in the whole magic realm sort of thing going on.
Are they part of some group of mages and or occultists that are on board?
Sure.
Okay.
There's two groups. There's one group that is like super occultism. Like I think that the mortal world actually sees them as kind of like a secret society type thing. Okay. And the other group is a bunch of just like college age kids that Harker knows from her schooling days, and she still does school, but like she only does it like for like a class a week, maybe once every 2 weeks.
Okay.
But yeah, like it's folks that like can see beyond the veil and like maybe have some sort of magic ability, maybe not, but like they're here like it's a field trip.
Study abroad.
Can you sign this paper for me?
Yes, I
I
like the Hogwarts abroad feel to that.
Yeah.
All right, and Jen, who's from Beltane's point of view, who else is aboard that's supernatural?
There's at least one kid who can't see beyond the veil, and he doesn't know what the hell is going on. Okay, go on.
There are probably some dwarvish people, elves without their backs, ghosts, and some extent sea monsters that can be humanoid size. Beltane explained to Cain that there are milk carriers, not to tempt them with milk or to give them hazelwoods lest they come and bite you at one point. Some half human, some half animal people. So what might be interpreted as a whale in a human form, but they would disappear now and then to be a whale out in the sea.
Nice. Cain, how do you react to being told how to defend yourself and Hazelwood and such?
It like every time, and I feel like this is definitely canon for Cain, every time Beltane starts talking about things beyond the veil, it is the teacher from Charlie Brown. It just fades into just like he definitely has ADD brain. He's not been diagnosed because ADD hadn't been invented yet, but he definitely has that kind of like scatterbrain of just like, all right, this is how you defend yourself. Don't give them milk. Don't feed them after dark. Like, Cain just definitely has that like, why would I ever give them milk? He just leaves it at that, like sees no reason.
And is it Cain's brain or is it the veil blocking Cain?
It's just Cain's brain. It's not the veil at all.
Right.
He's just that person.
I figured that would be the answer, but I thought it would be important to to reveal that.
Yeah.
as the evening winds down, Kane, what do you get? You get your number. To jazz, to improv, to do what you will with. What instrument and what kind of thing do you play?
He is going to hop on the piano if nobody stops him. Every time you guys use Zoom chat, it always pops up on somebody's screen. Kane is probably hopping on the piano. And it starts off very melodically, but towards the end of the piece, like he has like a leg up and is smashing keys at the end of it, like he's just full lost in his own madness.
And Harker has cleaned him up too, so he's wearing like a jacket with coattails that is like a size too big for him. And his hair was like greased down like into submission, and by the end of the piece it's all come undone.
Even if he was wearing a bow tie, the ends have like come undone and somehow reformed into a regular loose-fitting tie.
Okay. Excellent. And Lilith, from the sidelines, what is your thoughts on this Discordia?
Probably at one point, being there dancing, she would have used her shadow ability to pull him away from the piano and put someone in there to return to a nice melodic sound. And she just talks, it's like, that's better.
As
Reminds
a
me
point,
more of the first time we danced.
when you were pulling him away,
Yeah.
his arm detaches to continue to play even as he's being dragged off.
Another little shadow tentacle just comes and grabs the arm.
We're gonna say that it got to you got to your crescendo of the bit where your foot your heel is gink 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 on the high keys and it why don't you give us a agility roll and see how fantastic this was this number was.
An agility? That's a 12, baby.
Woo! People are like, I don't know what this is, but I like it. It's one of those things where it's way ahead of its time. It is it's not concordant with where we are as a society or as music should be at this point. So and Harker, you're thrumming along on the bass with giving him support?
Yeah, she usually takes the back seat in this sort of thing. She just backs him up.
And as things return to normal, or as you're kind of pulled away by nothing, by like, it looks to mundanes, it looks like a hook comes out, like a shepherd's crook from behind a curtain and pulls you off. But to those who have the sight, they see these shadow creatures come and drag you away, which creates even more of an applaud, because obviously it was a twofold. One, the creatures are like, you defied Lilith, and two, Lilith is the boss. Yes, we see this. And so Beltane, is there anything in your mind or past that this Discordia, this music beyond time, rings true to you?
I think when he kind of was adapting to the new world and to the Earth world, he discovered he really liked how people played music, and when he was introduced to the violin, he took it up and discovered he really liked playing it. And he remembers back to when classical music started to shift into more upbeat things, and it reminds him of a time where he started to get more into this less formal music, into this more rowdy, upbeat, lively, soulful music. And it brings him back to a simpler time where he just could enjoy something and could just be happy in it. He just sits there and kind of taps his toe to it and applauds Kane as he's dragged off.
In our view of your past, is there a specific time period we're seeing? I mean, are these ancient peoples, or are they like Roman-esque, Britons? Where are we at in a very long lifetime?
Let's see. Probably when the Picts and Celts still ruled the British Isles, or still governed the British Isles, when the violin wasn't quite the violin, was introduced to the British Isles, and he listened to it, and it brought him from where he was into the world of humans. And he took that first step because he heard this music, and he accidentally set a trend by kidnapping fiddlers off to the fairylands, because fairies ended up liking fiddles a lot.
Great. Just a mechanical reminder: if you're gonna hit the keys, hit your mute, peeps. Just so we can hear. So the fiddle brought Kane to, or Beltane to the realm of men. Very cool. Very cool. As the evening winds down, Harker, we saw that flash of red in your eyes when the moon passed by. Would you like to let people know what that was about?
Harker has recently split her soul in two and then sold half of it to the devil. That's pretty succinct.
But that's Harker. Yeah, very succinct. A woman of few words and a lot of punches. Gunshots, actually. She shoots more than she punches. Is there anything that your non-devilish half thinks about that moon that you were looking at?
What phase is it in?
Oh, geez. Oh, well, we called it improv. It's got to be a full moon.
Yeah.
Lapping on the waves.
Yeah. I think she's trying to like parse what kind of emotions she's supposed to feel about that, because like a full moon is a beautiful sight, but she's got history with werewolves. But like, now that she's had her vengeance, now that she's killed the werewolf that was responsible for the death of her fiance, where does that stand with her and the moon? And I think this is weird. In the other game, I have a paladin of a moon goddess, and she's going through some shit as well. But like Rue. She's looking up at that beautiful white circle in the sky, and she's trying to be all like, where do we stand now, you and me?
I think that I want to say maybe Harker forgives the moon. It had been such a plague on her for so long. Does she?
Yeah. I think that she asks that question to herself, takes a long drag from her cigarette, kind of lets it out through her nose, and then settles in for a smile.
All right. And it's at that moment that smile is, pervading, that the moon goes red.
Smile doesn't go away.
Nice. All right. It's just a little more devilish, maybe.
Just a little.
Oh, excellent, beautiful.
As a treat.
Okay. Who haven't I touched on thinking of their past? Kane. Kane, what of this journey or of this evening has reminded you of something from your past?
Before all this started, I used to just play music. Being on a ship reminds him of like he's played music pretty like if you meet a musician who's like, "Oh yeah, like I did all sorts of gigs." Like he has definitely always been a gig economy kind of guy. He probably played on like a steamboat or something like that at some point. Like to him being on a ship, playing music, getting a little rowdy with it, like this is fine. He enjoys this. Um
This is Kane's first lifetime, though, right?
yeah, no, he's
You are the age you were born
yeah.
from to
Steamboats
here.
are brand new. They're
Yeah.
sweet. Have you ever been on
okay.
one? That's Kane. Like he's having a good time. Like he is on a fancy ship. He's wearing fancy clothes. He's drinking fancy booze, which does nothing to him except make him even more excited because it makes Lilith upset. That he's literally wasting alcohol because he can't get drunk off of it. He's just drinking it because he likes the
She
taste.
can't either, so it doesn't affect her.
Yeah, no, this is
okay.
his first lifetime. He's at a fancy party.
Nice. The evening winds down, and as things are closing and shutting down, some of the creatures you see are wandering off with humans. Most likely, these humans are never going to return. They're going to be the people who they must have went to Europe and stayed. Um, are any of you, first off, do you or would you notice? And second off, do you do anything about it?
Yes.
Brains and Moxie are my lowest scores. I think that they're gonna get jiggy with it.
All right.
I think Lilith would have noticed because she's dancing, but she gave her crew very specific instructions to make sure everybody was safe. Because she didn't want to deal with any bullshit on a vacation ride. She's tired of bullshit.
All right.
So she would have her like guards make sure that everybody would stay safe.
All right. I guess give me a moxie roll then.
Me?
Yeah.
Is it 2d6, 3d6? I forgot already.
Let's 2.
Okay. I'm sorry. 9.
9. Okay.
Yeah.
As far as you can tell, your orcs, intercede like, be nice now, and kind of thing, and so we shall see if any bodies turn up or don't. The last little toot of the evening from the ship is sounds that sort of these thrumming horn. Lilith, you are watching the waves lap, and the full moon is there. And you're looking at it, you're hearing the waves and the water, and we, as the audience, we've been in a Technicolor version of the 20s, so it's like bright where it's supposed to be bright, and a little glowier than it should be. But as we hear the waves lap and everything begins to fade to a gray, you remember another ship ride you took. You remember coming to America. You remember I did you flee France or did you leave of your own accord?
I left of my own accord.
Mhm. So on a night much like this, we are faded to gray. It fades out and opens back up. And what is a 27-year-old Lilith? When did Lilith come to America?
Um, she came to America a good decade after she was not turned but freed
Okay,
from her sire.
so that would have
Decade or
been
so. That'd be 1860s, 1870s.
all right, all right. A very we'll just for
Mm-hmm.
not, um, I will say continuity, but that's not the word I was looking for. This is actually a sail ship, even though early steamships would have been a possible. We're going to say that this is masts and waves crashing, and
Mm-hmm.
the ship is much more much more volatile in the same kind of ocean. It's still sort of a smooth, but with the
Mm-hmm.
wind pushing it,
Mm-hmm.
it's crashing along the waves and whatnot. Um, and what does this let's see, you'd be 37 but look 27 Lilith look like?
Um, Much like the same. At this point in the 1960s, in human years, she would have been in her 60s, but she
Okay.
stayed very much fresh 27-year-old.
Okay.
Um, Not as definitely not in any American fashion. Very much French fashion. But still very proper. Hair tied up. Um, Dress, full poof dress with corsets and cages. And ruffles. Maybe a fan. Maybe not when she's out on the deck of the ship since it's wind, but underneath.
Okay. um Now is Beltane with you at this point?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. So Beltane, what do you look like in the 1860s coming from Europe to the new world?
Excuse me. He has long white hair, dark gray robes that he's adorns in this particular time period. He looks much more of a wild fae than he does in the present day. His skin's actually green instead of blue, and his eyes are still yellow with black sclera, and he has what looks to be pink petals just littered across his skins and cheek. He's still very tall, very form-fitting, and he seems to be growling at one of the shipmates to not touch something, and he's very possessive over it. He's not as refined. He's much more uncouth.
You said pink petals?
Yes, like flower petals.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. All right. Um, so, and I assume you're attending Lilith in this affair.
Yes.
Okay. Um, and so as we're watching this ship head east, as that's going along, it now so let me ask Lilith a couple more questions before we transition. And also I need to watch our time. Okay. Because you know me. Um, uh, so Lilith, you became a person of means in the old world before you left to
Hmm.
come to the New World.
Yes.
Okay, how did you uh, acquire your wealth?
Well, when she was human, she grew up in a very wealthy family. And her disappearance was seen as a tragedy. But later on, she came back as her vampire self as a distant relative to take over her family's business, a cousin that was never known of, and she retook the business her family had when she was human and made it much grander than it had been before. So she retook her old wealth and expanded it, and now she's trying to expand to the Americas.
Now, does she still have, does present day, the 1920s, Lilith still have properties in Europe?
She does.
All right. Okay. Um, so with that sort of explained, um, we have that scene of the sailed ship and Beltane and Lilith there, and it does the sepia tone fade out again, and then it opens back up, like an old movie from the 20s, with the circle, and the circle opens up, and we are back probably. Can't do the math, but before Lilith was turned, she's 27. Is that the
Hmm.
number you sent me? Okay.
Yeah.
Where is she, or what is her life like at this point?
Um, she was very much um a wealthy family's daughter. She was meant to be a formal lady. She was meant to be married off. And but unlike what society expected of her, she actually had a very keen business mind. Um, and she wanted to follow in her father's footsteps instead of being married off. And even though the family had tried many a times to marry her off to some wealthy man,
Because I mean,
uh,
she's 27.
yeah,
I
at
mean,
this point
wow.
she's a spinster,
Yep.
you
Yep.
know. But she was always a bit of a she was always a topic of gossip in certain circles. How she hadn't been married, she hadn't been engaged, she didn't have any children by 27, she wasn't the wife of any wealthy man, any business partner. How she should be ashamed of to her family, but she had actually been working very hard to be a businesswoman in the 1800s, early
And
1800s.
what was the main focus of the family fortune?
Merchandise. So they were merchants.
Merchants. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Um, so who was Lilith's sire?
Lilith Sire was a maybe opposing merchant family the head of the opposing merchant family. I know I had details about him, but I completely forgot. So we'll
Oh,
make
that's
up new ones. We'll
that's
make up
great.
new ones. We're
Yep, yep,
making up new
yep.
ones.
And
Um,
I'm just gonna say, someone is going to play this person, so leave it a little vague,
yeah,
but give us enough to get started.
yeah. He was very mysterious head of another merchant business. Um, who maybe had shown interest in merging the two. Who knows? But anything else, I'll leave up to the person who's playing them.
Excellent. And is Beltane part of your life at this point?
No, Beltane became part of her life at around 1847 when she got freed from her sire.
Perfect.
I
Perfect.
don't know how I remember these dates, but I do.
That's it's great. It's great. So, since Beltane's not in the picture, who of the three of you would like to be Lilith's sire?
Let it be Jen.
I
Beltane's free.
abstain. I abstain. I already fight too much with Satan.
All right. So, and I'm gonna screw it up all night, but Jen, I was about to say Beltane. Jen, what is this sire's name, and describe them to us, please.
Oh, what was his name, Lilith?
I
Because you
don't know.
told me a long time ago and I can't remember.
Maybe Francesco. I don't know.
It was Francesco. Francesco de Ver. He's a very tall man for even in the 1800s. He has this almost imposing, charming feel about him. Kind of deep set eyes, pale skin, slick back brown hair. Always a charming smile about him. Best clothes. Wears a red tie of sorts, whatever the fashion for ties in the 1800s were.
Is he French?
No, he's not French.
Ah, okay.
But right now, he might be.
What nationality is he?
It's unclear. His features kind of allow him to be a chameleon of multiple nations.
All right. Okay. So in this relationship, he is already a vampire. And how old is he?
He's, oh goodness, probably reaching around the age of 600 years of age. He's been around for a bit. He knows this game. He's been at it for a while. He knows what he needs to get and how he should get it. And he's ruthless and he doesn't care how he obtains what he needs.
All right. Does he have any other thralls or competitors or other vampiric, I'll say children at this point because the word escapes me?
He used to have another thrall that he had posted in England, but he was not quite satisfied with them. The Scotch ended up burning down the castle quite a few years ago and left it in ruins. So he did away with this particular gentleman and was tired of having vampires hunters after him. So it was best to do away with them. He currently doesn't have any thralls under him because he's just trying to be more inconspicuous, but he is still of a long bloodline. He still has a maker that he's very close with and regards her as his mother of sorts. So he admires her quite a bit.
And Satan, how did the two of you consummate your vampiric birth or relations?
I think
How
it was.
how or why did you become a vampire? I guess.
I think it was definitely not something that she wanted. Um, Maybe it was something that I don't know. Work with me, Jen. Why would he want Lilith to be a vampire?
Oh, your parents paid him to get rid of you. Straight up.
Yeah, straight
They
up.
wanted you out of the picture and wanted your brother in charge. You were too much of a strong head and they couldn't send you off to a mental institute. That would be too much gossip, naturally. So,
Yeah.
best way to
So-
deal with the problem was to make it go away.
Did they know he was a vampire, or they just paid him to marry her?
I think he just paid. He didn't reveal anything.
So he was paid to marry her to get rid of the strong-headed woman who had many business ideas that nobody listened to. But she knew they were good. They would do the family well. But she was a woman in the early 1800s trying to run a business. That was not going to happen. But she was strong-headed. And come in, Francesco.
Did they have a true romance beforehand, was there a time of wooing and being a suitor that could have won Lilith's heart?
I think maybe there was an attempt, but she wasn't having any of it.
Uh, Jen, what was Francesco's attempts?
He went through the very practical, here's flowers, let me woo you. Oh, here you've dropped your glove, let me kiss it and give it back to you. Oh, you want this fan? Here's a hairpiece. He went through buying her gifts, trying to flatter her, and seeing that was getting nowhere, tried out a different plan. And appealed to her business side more, realizing that was probably the best way to try and bring her over to what he wanted.
And Lilith, you said that you didn't want to be a vampire. How did this occur?
Hmm.
Did they make you a deal and say, how would you like to, create a business empire? Did they woo you with that, not telling you the details
I
until it
think
was too late?
so. Yeah. And it's maybe something that she has always kept in the back of her mind because she regards herself as a very savvy woman. So to have been tricked like this, it was maybe it was more of a vampire bride situation. Um, and she agreed to it, not knowing, maybe tricked into it. But yeah.
Uh, Vampiric charmed into it, or
Mm, no,
no? Okay.
no.
All right. So Lilith saw this opportunity and played into it. And so was there just a moment where once you agreed, you drank their blood, or did they have to bite you? How was your transformation, if you don't mind? Or we can just black shadow it, swoop the cape and
Yeah, it was those very dramatic, like black and white movies, like a nightgown, a vampire comes, like bites her neck.
all right, a
that scream,
canopy
yeah,
bed,
canopy bed.
French doors.
Yeah,
Okay.
And she's
yeah.
got like fucking like paperwork in her hands, and she's like, "All right, time to sign the paperwork." And it's like,
Oh
"Oh no!"
no! Why are your teeth in my neck?
And like I said, the cape swirls up in front of the camera, and
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
next day.
the open window with the curtains like flapping in the night wind.
Perfect. So upon her awakening, um, is it a thing where she realizes something? Did he abandon her for a time, or did he swoop her away somewhere where she could become the vampire, or where she was held for a time whilst she acclimated?
I think, and work with me, Jen, again.
Mhm.
Maybe he took her away for a while, to kind of be again, because many women in these times are groomed to be the perfect daughter, the perfect woman, the perfect mother, the perfect wife. Maybe it's something like that. Trying to be groomed into the perfect wife and business partner. Maybe.
Okay. And at this point, does your family believe you're gone?
I would assume so. If he takes
Oh,
her away
yeah.
to never be seen.
Okay.
He would have written saying, "Oh, she's perished the thought." He
All
would make
right.
out that she died from a broken heart or something stupidly romantic.
Yeah.
And then brought home any old desiccated corpse, because it would take a month to get home, and you know
She died of fainting lady disease.
Yeah. She died of hysteria, known as
Yeah.
just being a woman.
It was hysteria.
So let's jump to another point in Lilith's backstory. In case anybody is still wondering, it's Lilith's backstory that we're doing this evening. In case there's any other questions,
What?
who would be a character that would be involved in the time period between when when you first became a vampire? Who would be there to help ease you into that, other than your sire?
I think maybe he would have definitely had maybe not he would have taken like a thrall or like had a another vampire that owed him a favor to take care of her and ease her into this life. Um maybe maybe someone who owed him a favor because he tricked them as well. Um So, Jen, who do you think would it be? A man, a woman?
Or hold on, not Jen, Stephen, or Danae?
Do you want me to pick, or do you want?
You pick.
All right.
I'm gonna
You
pick
pick.
Danae because I want this person to be like friends with Lilith, and I don't think we've had times where we've been friends.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It's a lady vampire.
Lady vampire. Okay.
is she old blood, or new blood?
I think she's fairly old blood. If she's supposed to be teaching Lilith the ropes about vampirism and whatnot, I think she's pretty old world vampire. Yes.
And
She looks young, of course, but she's got such an old soul.
where's she from?
Russia.
Excellent. Excellent. I love you today.
I'm ready for this Russian accent. Come on.
And what is this Russian vampire's name?
Misha.
Perfect.
I love it.
All right. And what does Misha look like?
Misha is a tall woman. She's fairly well muscled. She's almost always wearing a bearskin coat. Yeah, I knew you'd like that, Stephen. That one's for you.
Happy Pride, everybody.
She's almost always wearing a bearskin coat, and she has long platinum blonde hair, and she's got a very stern expression. And I think that she turned Lilith on to the long cigarette thing, because she doesn't use a long cigarette, but she has a very long pipe that she's always sort of smoking on. And she's very matter of fact. She's a woman of few words, but when she says them, you know she means them.
And what kind of wisdom does Misha give her about being a vampire?
You're dead now, darling. Live like it.
That's awesome. I love it. Okay. Lilith, any reaction?
I find your words to be quite contradictory.
So is undeath.
Well, here's to living like the dead.
I've got goblets full of blood.
Yeah, blood.
Now is Misha a here peasant and fill the mugs type, or what are we dealing with Misha? Is she old school, people are cattle, or?
Yeah, I think so. I think that the biggest lesson that she has to teach to Lilith is the lesson that she never learned herself, is that humanity has worth. She doesn't see humans as worthy. Like, vampires are a step above, and she sees humanity as cattle, for sure. She turns into a wolf.
I like that. I like that.
And what was, say Lilith has but one vampiric power of hers at this point? What is that?
I think it would have been her charm. That would have been the first power that she would have had because she was always charming to those who she needed to be, which is one of the reasons she had never been sent off. Or it would have been too much of a gossip to send out such a charming lady from the family to be sent off to a mental hospital or anything like that.
All right. Okay. So you were always somehow miraculously able to make a convincing argument to the right ear at the right time.
Exactly.
All right. So what is a thing that Misha talked Lilith into, or got Lilith into, that would have made Francesco? Francesco? Is that
Francesco.
Francesco?
Explain Francesco to me.
Mhm.
Jen? Lilith?
Here, I think Francesco probably brought Misha in for advice because he was straddling the old and the new and wanted some advice on how to breach into the new world and set a marker down in France so he could rebuild what he lost over in the British Isles. So he looks to Misha as somebody he can rely on, somebody he can seek advice from, and has great respect towards her.
Perhaps Misha and Francesco were sired by the same vampire. So they've got like a brother-sister relationship, almost. But, in the vampire sort of way, where it's all like, might stab you in the back.
Hey, brother, stab me in the back.
Hey.
Got a steak with your name on it.
If you get out of this, it'll be a miracle. But I love you. I'll see you at Thanksgiving, maybe. All right. Okay. So what was the thing then that Misha got Lilith into that would upset Francesco?
She got her out of the house. They got out and they started living a little. Hunting parties started disappearing. Like, big name people started disappearing. Like, not just peasants off in the woods that don't matter at all, but like, the sons and daughters of kings, that are out on like really big expensive hunting parties and stuff like that. She took Lilith glamping.
Yeah.
And they got up to some stuff.
And
I think Lilith showed her some of that New World vibe. She's like, oh dear, no, that's so outdated. No, come here.
And was there anybody in this group or this time that was then turned? Did Lilith and or Misha sire anyone during this time period? Because this is like a 10-year stretch, right? Before you
it's a good 20 years before she 10-year stretch or so before she left. She took care of Francesco.
Right.
And another 10 years before she left to the Americas.
Okay, great. So I'm I'm hoping that the denouement of tonight's episode will be the death of Francesco, but there may be more to the story. We may end up back on that ship. So, if we end up with Francesco dead too early, um, uh, Jen, you'll be back in playing Beltane. Okay? Because you meet Beltane in that period too, right?
She met him right literally the night that she took care of Francesco. Beltane saw that.
Perfect. Okay. All right. So we'll see where we get to. So, did Lilith or Misha sire anyone?
Lilith wouldn't have, but she might have had like her own ghouls or thralls secretly.
Were any of them in on the plot to take care of Francesco?
I would say so. I would say maybe she turned one of his own advisors against him.
Okay. So Stephen,
Yes.
indoor. Sorry.
That's okay.
Are you a ghoul or a thrall?
I would say. Okay, so explain to me the difference, just so that way I can make my educated choice on this.
Sure. So, conceptually, and then we can kibitz. Let's say a thrall is someone that Francesco drinks from, and is bound. They are bound to Francesco through, like sort of that vampire or voodoo.
Bloodbind.
Yeah, exactly. And a ghoul would be someone who drinks the vampire's blood but doesn't become a vampire. They are basically vampire addicted individual who like is on that verge of being undead. They're like a heroin addict for vampire blood.
Like you have some vampiric abilities because you drink vampire blood and you're addicted to their blood, but maybe you might just be like one of their lackeys.
They're like a minion.
Yeah.
They'll have
a Renfield.
Yeah, they'll be like fairly they usually they're more resilient than humans are. Like they can take a lot more punishment before they are hurt. But they go back to their vampire daddy and they're all like, "Hey, fix me up, buddy."
Yeah.
I will totally do that one because because I have an idea, which is this is taking place in the early 1820s, right? Napoleon era France just ended.
It would be late 1820s, early 1830s.
So we're during the Bourbon revival when the French kings come back after Napoleon. I was in Napoleon's army.
Oh no.
I love it.
Like 110%. I like the idea of just like eventually he will be a revolutionary because that's what his vampire daddy probably wants him to do. Viva la France and all of that, of course. Yes.
Yeah.
You can join them for the night protests, though.
If we get rid of all those nobles and kings and whatnot, we could just eat anyone. If we're all just citizens.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
we could become the nobles and kings.
So
that's,
maybe
that's the other thing is like because like being involved in a war, being a little hardier when you're out on the battlefield probably earned him a bunch of accommodations, and I say him because I like the name Leon for this individual, which in public settings they will have they will speak French fluently and have a French accent. They're secretly an Englishman.
So yeah, maybe Leon was some sort of advisor and ghoul, and maybe Lilith just turned him against Francesco.
Your blood's better than his. Yours is newer, tastier. It fills me with more vigor.
Fresher. It's more refreshing, dear.
You're from the
So-
Champagne region.
Exactly.
As we
I've got a little bit of
discussed earlier.
fizz in my blood.
It's
Uh,
Sparkling blood.
and so also too being in these battles, these confrontations, it would give you lots of temptation to devour flesh and drink blood that is not vampiric, trying to sate that thirst.
Oh, I've definitely eaten off some people before.
Yeah.
Won't even. If he could have been if he could be a vampire, he's working towards it. He would love nothing more than that. This seems like a sweet gig.
He's banking on some upward mobility.
Yeah, he's stuck in middle management right now, but hey,
Yeah,
if the general
that's one
above
of-
you die,
That's one of the things that's like, dear, do you really think he would ever take you as a vampire? How long have you been in his service? How long have you waited for this chance?
quite
How
You
much
think-
do
right.
you have to
Well,
Waterloo?
we'll get there. We'll get there. Let's I think we're about at break time.
Yes.
So you all can think about some vampiric goodness. Maybe we know that Misha can become a wolf. We know that Lilith has charm. We need to don't announce it now. Think of it over break. Think of what Francesco's probably main ability is, but maybe he has a plethora since he is the BB GEG whatever. I'm dyslexic. The big bad guy for the evening, and indoor. Let's think ghoul for a few
Yes.
minutes.
So, we are going to be heading into our break, as GB said, so we are going to try and be back in 5 to 10 minutes. Don't go no place unless it's to grab a food, grab a drink, grab a friend, or possibly visit our merch store at indooradventure.redbubble.com. We got t-shirts, we got posters, we got mugs, we even have face masks now, where you can spread the good word of our dear friend Tiamat everywhere that you go. Who wouldn't want to do such a thing? And we will see you guys shortly. All right, everybody. See you soon.
Bye.
And we are back. Don't believe what the layout says. Most of us are different people. Well, at least characters for tonight's session. And we have returned. So, when we last left off, Lilith was still the same. Danae is going to be playing a Russian vampire who can turn into a wolf, sometimes named Misha. Jen is going to be Francesco. And I shall be Leon, a totally French person.
And so now the subtitle for this evening, it's Mort du Tempus, or Francesco dies at the end.
It's my turn to die this time, Steven.
Take it. It's birthday gift for me to you.
We're all gonna keep on folding over each other to die for each other. It'll be fine.
Exactly. Oh man. Ooh, I love you, Steve. Okay, so where we fade back in is that we were just saying that Misha and Lilith have done something. They've taken and they've started taking out petty nobles and whatnot during hunting parties. And when you're taking them out, are you vamping them out, ripping them to shreds, making them disappear, never to return? What is the MO here?
I think that they're smart enough to just make them disappear, like leave no evidence behind.
They're just stop.
So yeah, and this is a superstitious time. People are kind of like, oh, but they went into the woods and never came back. Whoop. And that's what they're banking on, I think.
Mhm.
But we're also starting to get into a more like reasonable time where people are all like, okay, but no, really, where did they go?
Exactly.
And that's what gets Francesco upset is
Mhm.
that we're disappearing people that are being looked for.
All right.
Important people that are being looked for.
Yeah. Okay. let's take a moment and let's have a scene between Francesco and Leon. Um, how did Francesco find Leon? And either one of you can, just because I worded it one way, you guys can go betwixt you and kibitz that out.
I was going around collecting funds for the war effort. Next thing I knew, I found myself on that twat Francesco's door. I asked if they had anything to spare that they could use to help us defeat those horrible Prussians up in the north, and they said that yes, there was a way that they could help me. Invited me in for a drink. Next thing I know, I have to get a nibble every now and then.
Is that viable, Francesco?
Yes, I would have invited him in, and seeing as his role in the military would have given me an advantageous way into the Napoleon's army, I suppose would be at the time, and decided to take my chances and pulled dear Leon into the fold.
Okay. So as your relationship deepened, what sort of things did Francesco require of Leon? What was his duties? His I mean, did he watch over Francesco during daylight hours? Did what sort of things would Francesco ask of him?
Oh, probably the watching to bring higher ranked officers back to the house and disguise of a party, to bring more into the fold, to have more control within the great Napoleon army, to see which way the winds are blowing, where to set his claims and such. Mostly information gathering, because he believes Leon is that bright, charming lad that could appeal to anyone.
Why, thank you. I was gonna say, Francesco is a merchant, right? You want to deal in firearms or linens? It's the war effort. Like, I could literally broker it up so we just pay you with our military spending.
Oh, Francesco do firearms. Linens are last century.
Textiles and all of that.
Yes.
Which, maybe we could have had more wool when we went north into Russia during the winter, but like, who's poking holes in this?
Wool, how 1400?
Yes.
It's Egyptian.
Absolute trifle it
you.
is.
Okay. Gorgeous. All right. Let's go then to
like, I'm sure I was gonna say, after, like, since we're taking place like in the later 1820s as well, like, the war is over. Leon probably needs a job and now just like works with, like, now he watches over Francesco's house during the daytime. Like, he's out of a job. He was offered a bodyguard gig.
You fell out of favor with Francesco as soon as your use in the army was over.
I'm still around.
You're still around. You're just a glorified bodyguard now.
Oh, okay.
Till the next war.
Yeah, and that does begin that sort of downward spiral of dependency and non I mean, we're talking a vampire family, a vampire, how the relationships. So we all love each other here as players and people, but tonight might get dark. So as things become stretched, yeah, we can see the descent of Leon. Maybe that blood comes a little slower, not as often, and maybe his
I just have to
bones.
do the bare minimum for Lilith, and she gives me all that I want. This is incredible.
Yeah, the old boss isn't giving you the thing, and now your joints hurt. And you're feeling your age and stuff. You know, this ain't right. I had to tap that more. Okay, so let's have a scene between Lilith and Francesco. Where do we want to have a scene betwixt them with the where we start to have the what the hell are you and Misha up to? Um, does that fit the scheme of where we're at, or is it
Yeah.
too early for that?
It's up to you.
Yeah.
I think that's fine.
All right,
Mhm, mhm.
let's go ahead and Francesco, how have you found out about this endeavor activity that Misha and Lilith are undertaking?
Oh, probably one of the servants told him. One of the ones who want to earn his favor in some way, and he's kind and generous in his own way, I suppose, and gives ample reward to the servant, and he just waits for Lilith. And he's
Can
if she's there.
can we twist the knife a little bit and say, because it's at night, Leon doesn't have to watch you, so Leon was watching them,
No, like yeah, because
so
that would
that
just
there's this.
lower Leon in his eyes even more.
So yeah, but Leon comes to you with this word, maybe trying to get back in your graces, kind of thing. But do you reward him for this, or do this is your duty? How do you respond to Leon bringing you the news? Leon, bring her the news. Let's play it out.
I think Leon will come and just, my lord, a word, if possible. And are they alone?
Oh yeah, he's in his office. He's been writing. You disrupted his work. He's annoyed already.
I I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it would appear as though there is a little bit of insubordination within your ranks. Were you aware of this? I'm sure that you are, Your Greatness. But it would appear as though your most recent sire is, well, you know very well of my distaste for the Northerners. It would appear as if your sire has decided to make an ally of a Prussian.
A Prussian.
Misha, one of the old ones.
Hmm. Well, thank you, Leon. I will see to it personally.
Excellent. As you should. Stamp out insubordination as it comes. That's what we always did in the military.
Leon.
Now, we had established earlier that Francesco had invited Misha to show Lilith the ropes. So what we're going to say is that the insubordination here in this situation is Misha is helping Lilith snatch these petty nobles.
I just add that these petty nobles are probably all men.
All
I'm
right.
just going to add that in.
The third Duke of Habsburg and whatnot.
Cheddar.
Yes.
It would appear, as you might have heard, there are people of note, lesser note, really, people of note going missing.
Leon.
Yes.
Why weren't you watching Lilith?
I don't know if you've noticed this, but I'm not exactly as strong as I used to be. Back when I was fighting the war, I can't exactly do much to stop her at this point, because you don't see fit for me to have weapons that could possibly do you harm. Now, I can look on them from afar all that I want, but if I try and stop either of them, I'm going to die. I can only be so resilient.
Leon,
Unless, yes?
I'm hearing a bunch of excuses, and somehow I'm at fault for your maladies. Is this what I'm hearing from you?
Of course not, General.
Good. It's in the cabinet if you want it.
Thank you, my lordship. Just... I finally got my fix! Yes! And just, after consuming, just... Yes, well, I will see to it that Misha and Lilith, your sireling, make sure that they don't cause any additional ruckus. Again, these are lesser lords, but still notable figures in the city.
Bring Lilith to me.
At once. And he will graciously bow and, like, walk backwards out of the room as he's bowing. He just got his fix. He doesn't want to piss off his dealer. That's bad karma. So yeah, Leon will go towards wherever Misha and Lilith are.
And is Misha, I'm gonna ask real quick, do you think that you want to be involved in this scene, or do you think that Leon finds Lilith alone?
I think that Leon finds Lilith alone. As to whether or not I'm going to be involved in this scene, we'll find out.
Great. Awesome. Because again, in improvisation, if you guys got a bit that seems right, just bring it. So, okay. You, where's Lilith at that Leon finds him? Or her?
She is in her own study. Reading up some books about the newer practices of business, as she is a wife and a business partner to Francesco. Looking maybe over some contracts that he has asked her to. Wearing glasses that she doesn't need. At the end of the nose glasses.
They have
But it's
little
just a force
lines
of-
in the glass, so it helps
Yeah,
you focus.
it's just a force of habit, I would say. They're more like a magnifying glass. Yeah.
There is
Yeah.
just a knock at your door. Mademoiselle, permission to enter.
We.
Just opens the door, shuts it. Miss Lilith, you're looking well. It's good. Good to see. I wanted to, let's see, I'll put this as lightly as
Out with it, Leon.
You're killing people and it's bad. You're not killing the right people. You're killing people that people know. Like if you see a name in the newspaper, that's not somebody that you should think to yourself, a tasty snack. No, that should put a big label on them that says, no, do not eat. But you and Misha seem to have very different tactics right now. And it has not gone unnoticed.
And who has noticed these tactics that you seem to be blaming on me and Misha.
Francesco has noticed them.
Oh.
I have noticed them.
Oh, you have noticed them.
People in the news have noticed them. And it, like, slides forward a like crumpled up newspaper that was printed earlier that day, because the printing press is such a mind-boggling invention. This is insane. And it definitely says, like, Lord of Cheddar has gone missing. Like, there's definitely like an APB on this news sheet.
She takes it and just looks at it through her glasses. That is quite a sad news.
When we were in war, it was a little bit easier to cover up disappearances. But without a war...
Leon,
Yes, mademoiselle.
why are you accusing Misha and I of these disappearances?
Meanwhile, Francesco, this is where the hell you said go get Lilith. Just putting that out there. Resume. Sorry.
He just, like, makes these noises at you, like he has such... I have been with you, following to find out what has been going on. Please don't make this look bad on me.
She takes off her glasses and puts them down. She pushes the chair out and stands up and walks over to him. Leon,
Yes, mademoiselle.
why have you been following me?
I believe that would be a better question to ask your lord. So why don't we both go? I was told to come and get you.
Are you suggesting that Francesco put you up to following me?
What I do in my off time is entirely up to me.
So you have been following me out of your own free will?
Yes!
She's very close to him now.
Yes, I have been.
Francesco. Sorry, Leon.
Yes.
I don't like being followed or spied on. At this point, she's walking him towards for his back to hit a wall.
And I don't like being an errand boy, but here we are. So why don't we both do something that we'll regret and go see Francesco?
You're barking at the wrong tree, Leon. And you're getting your fix from the wrong one. She'll boop his nose and leave.
You'll just, like, stammer in place a little bit, and then, okay, arms at his sides, shut the door, and just, no, it's to the left. We go that is the way to Francesco. I can lead you. That's okay. And he's just,
She knows where it is.
just making sure he does his job.
Think she would walk into his office without knocking. Hello, my dear husband. I have been summoned to your office. What can I do for you? My darling. All said in a very monotonous voice.
Let's cut to the shit. Why are you killing the lords and ladies of France?
Oh, I'm not kidding any ladies of France.
Why are you killing the lords then?
Because I can.
Stands up and smooths his shirt. And he just vanishes from behind his desk and just appears in front of Lilith. No. We do not do that.
Many of these lords do have their hands in many business deals that have to do with merchants. Many of them that did have their hands in them are the ones that have suddenly disappeared. If anything, my dear husband, I am doing you a favor.
By bringing the police, vampiric hunters, the werewolf clans upon me?
Have you encountered any of these?
It is a matter of time. I assume these murders are in the paper. Is that right, Leon?
Holds up the news, points.
She'll point at the news. Disappearances.
Disappearances can be seen through by the right people. Lilith, my darling wife.
Only if they find the bodies. Francesco, my dear husband.
Did Mishka put this up to you?
No.
Leon? The silence is confirming, I suppose.
I would like to add. Have you seen a rise in your profits?
I have.
Have you seen more of our rivals come at your door groveling?
I have.
Well then, what do you think that is? Fear is a tactic, dear. So, I would like to remind you. Fear is a tactic. I would like to remind you, it's one of the reasons I'm here. It's my business head. Now, have your profits made up for more than what you could have expected?
Mine is the shipment we lost in Paris, yes.
Also, as a reminder, Lilith doesn't exist anymore, and Francesco is a person right now because Lilith is technically dead as far as everyone knows at this point, correct? Okay. So nothing is in Lilith's name right now. It's all Francesco's. The hard work you've been doing, Lilith, is all in Francesco's name. So that needs to be
She's very aware of it. Would you like to know who was involved in the shipment that you lost in Paris?
Do tell.
Our dear Duke of Cheddar. And she'll point to the disappearance of a certain Duke.
He reaches up and just places a hand on Lilith's face and leans forward. Maybe in only an hour in the sun. He pats her cheek gently before passing by her. Leon, you've done well to inform me.
Leon will nod. He has been given a pat on the head today.
And where's Misha during this? As we sweep away and...
Nobody told Misha that they were leaving. I think that the door to their abode swings open and snow blows in. And a large figure in furs walks into an empty room. And there is a sound of... there is a disgruntled grunt. And the door is left open as snow begins to pile on the floor. Cut forward to Lilith. I like, tell me if you don't want to do this, but like I imagine like Lilith sitting out in the sun, just like sizzling, and it's like uncomfortable. And a shadow falls over her, and it's Misha holding a small parasol. You didn't tell me you were leaving.
I wasn't planning on to.
Francesco is not comfortable with what we are doing.
He is now. That's why I only get an hour in the sun. Dear.
Oh, you do not deserve this.
Just imagine like her usually perfect face is just like blistered.
Yeah, she tuts a little bit. And she will kneel down next to Lilith and say, "Do you know why we are hunting nobles?"
Enlighten me.
To shoot an eagle, you must first learn to shoot the sparrow. We bide our time. That shadow will leave and she sizzles again.
I would say maybe before the shadow came, there was sounds of pain, but now once it leaves, there's just silence as she sizzles in silence.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, as time goes on, deaths will continue. Like big name deaths, but now it's starting to attract the attention of hunters, and there are small clues being left behind to point towards Francisco. Or Francesca?
Francesco.
Francesco. Okay.
Leon, would you give me a let's say a moxie roll with the plus one.
Oh, that's more moxie than I gave myself, but a 10.
All right. You saw the Russian appear in their furs with the parasol to give Lilith a small bit of relief and to kneel down consolingly. You couldn't hear what they said, but you definitely saw this because, well, you're a daywalker. And what do you do with this info?
I think at this point, Leon, he's still loyal to Francesco. Because the conversation where Lilith was like, "You're picking the wrong side," was like yesterday. He's still like not necessarily sure. But when he sees Misha show up, he's not gonna like, "Hey, no touching." Like, he just sees this and then watches it play out. And then after Misha leaves, he's just going to tell Lilith, slightly from afar, "You know, that's the reason why it was kind of easy to put the whole you and Misha working together when you are doing shady things in the broad daylight."
It's usually not in the daylight, dear. I assure you.
Vampire daytime? I don't know.
Would you like to have this conversation when I'm not in extreme pain?
He will look over his shoulders. He'll take off his coat and he will just throw it over Lilith so that way she's out of direct sunlight.
Why,
If you
thank
leave
you.
this,
You're such a kind gentleman.
if you leave this area, then they'll know I didn't do my job. And that is not something that I like to do. Which is not work. Now, while I have you here, and he'll kind of squat down so that way he's eye level, what did you mean? I was up all night thinking about it. What did you mean? Chosen the wrong side.
Dear, how many times does he give you your fix?
Well, that depends. Have I done a good job lately? And
Oh,
up until yesterday, it was quite a while since I've done a good job.
Oh, he has you begging for scraps.
And what? With you, it would be free-flowing nectar of the gods?
It could be.
No. I've been in situations like this before. I know how to negotiate. I want to be one of you.
I know.
I'm tired of this.
And is that what you expect from my dear Francesco?
I don't think he has the balls.
Well, we're on the same page about something, dear.
So, how about this then? How about I go back and make sure Francesco knows exactly how harsh the sun was upon your fragile frame and how you begged to be let out of the sun and back into the shade. Create a grandiose tale of a battle never fought. And in return, you will help me achieve my goal.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I can simply take my coat back.
Lilith, no way before Francesco's dead. I'm gonna GM drop the mic on that one. There's no way you'd give it to him before then.
I mean, certainly. Because Francesco would know that something was up if suddenly Leon was a vampire.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
a dick, but he's an observant dick.
Dear, dear, dear. I think you're thinking of the wrong person. You help me get rid of our problem. I give you what you want. Do you really think he would have noticed you becoming a vampire?
I never said that it was going to be immediate.
No.
But I am picking a side in an upcoming battle. Now you have to convince me that I'm picking the right one.
I will give you my blood every day as long as you remain loyal to me. No need to do a good job here and there. No need to ask for scraps. You get it, and directly from the source.
You can see that even though he has the wry smile of an expert in bartering upon his face, he's salivating a little bit. Like he's having a hard time keeping his composure when you're like, oh, as much opium as you want, just take it, it's fine. Like,
Let me guess, Leon. Days, weeks, months without something of interest coming along until you find the right thing, which is why you followed me. No, trying to get a scoop to bring back to your ever so gracious master, just to get a bit of kibble.
I am quite a happy dog who will wag their tail, but yes.
Blood
Kibble
indeed. So you say there's a cabinet of sorts with bloods, bottles and vials of his blood, but there's only ever one when you open it.
Well, yes.
Maybe one that's been sitting out for a few days lost a bit of its potency, just enough to keep you going.
Yes.
Tell me,
Regretfully
Leon.
so, mademoiselle.
Have you ever had vampiric blood straight from the source. So on.
And you can see that he has this look on his face where it is, you have told somebody about the ingredients to make a beautiful food, and then like had a picture of said beautiful food, but it's through a computer screen and you can't touch it. He wants it so bad.
She's looking directly into his eyes.
No charm roll needed. He is definitely
No,
like,
she's not even charming him.
and when might I sample these goods?
When I'm less crispy.
I see. You have 24 hours. This is still a buyer's market, mademoiselle. And he is going to then take his jacket back.
She is sitting out there in the sun with a smile on her face.
A few weeks after this well, like maybe not a few weeks, a few days, maybe a week or two later, after this interaction, after he has been imbibing Champagne de Lilith, he's walking home on a snowy night in like on one of the blackest nights he's ever seen, and he gets jumped by a wolf that almost rips his head off, but then stops and sniffs him, and then just leaves.
Haven't seen one of those since I was in the field. Like, thinks about Russia for a hot second.
I would like to know what happens in this interim between Francesco and Misha. Do either one of you confront and or bargain? Confront is probably the better word. Do you just let this simmer betwixt the two of you, or how do you proceed? Francesco, do you let this roll, or do you?
No, he wouldn't let this roll. He would want to know why, and he probably would have asked Mishka into his office at some point.
And Misha?
Under what pretense?
That he simply wishes to see you, his dear sister.
Okay, she knows exactly what this means. She shows up.
He never calls me his dear sister.
Yep. No. He's where does he usually spend time?
Either in his office or the observatory or library, like
Some fancy rich people shit.
yes.
Let's change the scene. Maybe a moonlit solarium, or like you said, the observatory.
Mm-hmm.
So that we have this background of this, wondrous device, or this, massive telescope or whatnot.
I like it. And maybe like there's like a big like a solar system, like kind of what's it called when it hangs from the ceiling and it's like a model and it spins.
Mobile.
Thank you. Like a mobile solar system. He's chilling in there, and a window blows open and a gust of snowy wind blows in, and as that snow clears, there's just this enormous fur-laden woman standing there. You called?
No. From all the people I thought would deceive me, the last person I thought would be you.
I have no quarrel with you, brother.
He tosses the newspaper towards her. Lord Cheddar.
The hunters were quite upset about that one.
Slams his hand down on the stone. I know. Do you know how many people I had to pay off in the police department?
It sounds like you have been busy.
I don't need these distractions, Mishka. I don't need Lilith out of line. I don't need Leon coming to run to me every time there's an infraction in my ranks. I don't need you to encourage it.
You asked me to help. Are you releasing me from my duties of helping my dearest stepsister?
No. You are by far the better teacher.
Sister-in-law. That is the
Niece.
correct term.
If you are brother and sister, niece.
But he's married to her.
At current, yes, but he's also the sire. Interesting. Yes, gotcha.
Let's not talk about it.
No, that's fantastic.
Law is a sister-in-law.
Yep.
I think
Love
of
it.
her as my
Go.
sister.
If the hunters keep watch on the papers, they will come to our door, and do you think they will spare her?
If she is strong, she will survive.
She's barely a fledgling. You baby her too much.
Ha! Come and join me in the woods again. I will show you babying. This, and she just kind of like waves her hand at the mobile and the observatory, just all of the glory and splendor surrounding them. This is babying. Show her some real stars.
This is where our kind is headed to. You linger in the past too much. Perhaps our patron should hear of this. Your infractions towards my fledgling, towards me,
Out of character, who are you referring to?
our maker.
Oh, we didn't kill our sire?
No, she's alive.
Oh, fuck. Don't go tell mommy on me.
That's what we killed in New Orleans, girl.
Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. Oh, forgot about that. Okay. I'll roll it back. Ah, go run to mommy. You talk of the old ones. You know whose side she'll take.
Are you so sure about that, Mishka? She values loyalty over whatever you're doing.
Also,
Simply-
she knows that you need to keep a herd. You can't just go willy-nilly, and it's much better to have them come be lounging around and be able to eat at any time than to hunt. But the skills Misha is teaching are of the hunt, which a fledgling needs to know, because otherwise they could die out there if they were left to their own devices. If that kind of fits where we're headed, I think.
I think that Misha falters a little bit. Her smile falls. And Francesco knows that he has won, at least in some small way. And she says, I would never dream of making a move against you, brother, or against our patron.
Good. Do well to remember that, Mishka, my dearest sister.
Give Lilith my love.
Of course.
She'll turn her back and start to walk, and then the wind will pick up again and take her up and out the window.
May I add that maybe while this is happening, Leon and Lilith are in a very separate room, and she's behind him, and she says, "Your payment, my dear Leon," and she'll take a knife, slash her wrist, and then just press it against his mouth.
He definitely like grabs the arm and just like crack into a Slim
Yeah.
Jim. This is great.
I'd like to think at one point she has to grab him by the hair and just pull him back.
Oh yeah. Normally
She
it's
looks
like
at him. She looks at him. It's like, that's enough.
okay.
Have you picked your right side yet?
I believe I have made the best choice I've made all year.
Good.
Since we
And
called
do-
for the retreat.
And do you know, outside we see the like physical things happen with the blood and like maybe pupils, you know.
Oh.
Mhm.
And,
He's going
you
night
know,
running. That's what's
yeah.
going on.
yeah, and we can hear the heart, you know, beating, and you know the sheer strength, you know, come back to him and whatnot.
Just like in the war. He definitely has like the fully dilated pupils.
Yeah.
Like he is in cat hunter mode.
If this
Remember,
this
that's
kid
how.
survives to the 80s, or like, you know, the 1880s, Jack the Ripper ?
Mm. And where was I gonna head with it? Leon, you feel like a cat, like a predatory hunter cat, but you notice that the blood from Lilith, you feel sexy, like like you're like, wow, I am one charming you know, you just
You feel smooth.
yeah,
I'm a
exactly.
cat. I'm a sexy cat.
Sexy
fantastic.
Halloween cat costume.
Mr. Mistopheles.
Yeah. So, but yeah, you notice that there is a definite difference in this blood. So, yeah, and we do, if we need to continue that scene, or if Leon wants another scene out being a ghoul, you good?
Nah.
Okay. All right. So, checking our time, we need to get the conspirators together. So,
Bad Bitch Junior.
I was just gonna say, yep. So, we need to get the conspirators together. So is there any scene that, and this is to you too, Jen, any scene amongst these four that we need to get to before the conspirators get together? Anything? Okay. So Lilith or Misha, who calls the meeting?
I think Lilith.
I think that there is a worrying amount of silence from Misha, and Lilith comes to realize that she needs to take initiative, that this is now her fight to take, or to do.
Mhm.
In fact, she may even like put out feelers to Misha, and there is like a pointed non-response.
I think she would take initiative, but she will still. If she doesn't come to her, she'll go to her. She'll go to Misha.
So give me a brains check, Lilith.
Brains. 11. She's smart sometimes.
All right, you you actually go to one of the haunts that Misha frequents. What would that be, Misha?
It's a moonlit, nearly frozen lake. It's one of
Okay.
those kinds of lakes that has the ice with like weird hydro patterns where it makes perfectly circular ice because it like spins. So like yeah, there's just like little flats of circular ice across this lake, and a enormous winter wolf sitting on top of a rock.
Um, but you were trying to avoid her, so let's say that you were, like laying, wolf prone amongst the snow and whatnot, and Lilith manages to see through your glamour or whatever, um, and spot you there. What do
It's
you do?
just red eyes staring at this white wolf in the snow.
Mm-hmm. The wolf will look at you and then like look ahead and then just like walk into a cave.
She'll follow.
Um, the cave is small enough that she kind of has to hunch, so she like looms over you.
Mm-hmm.
And she will like sit silently and wait for your.
Mm-hmm. Hello, sister.
She is silent.
Your silence hurts. This entire time. Just silence. I've taken action. We are hunting sparrows no more.
There is the hint of a smile. Um, and she puts a large hand on the side of Lilith's face, um, and she says, "Claim your eagle before it becomes a dragon."
I will. You will have no need to fear of anything from your maker.
That is brave.
I have to be. I will be. And I'll take down anybody who gets in my path. That you have taught me. I'll no longer be the rabbits. I'll be the wolf.
Hmm. She gives you a solemn nod.
So then, what is the plan? How are you going to take down Francesco?
Dead men's blood. Rotting, rancid blood that acts like a poison to vampires. A start to the plan. That's what will make him weak enough to fight.
Served
And
to served to him by Leon.
very much so.
I don't think Leon has ever served him anything. That's like, I don't feel like that's Leon's relationship with Francesco because, like, most of the time he's just a bodyguard. You don't get the
What is
bodyguard to serve you food.
what is Francesco's feeding habits? That's where you
I
start.
think if he's the type of character that we all know he is, gets his dear darling wife to get him a night drink.
Clearly. Like, I
Clearly.
can supply the dead people blood. I know where there's a
Mhm.
decent pile of bodies. I always do. It's called the morgue. check it out sometime. They don't mind if you just go in, have a little bit of a nibble, and then walk away.
That's awesome. All right. So, as is your routine, are you going to somehow disguise this rancid dead man's blood?
It's enough. It's a mixture of fresh blood, very fresh blood, mixed with enough dead man's blood to start the poisoning process to weaken him. So the fresh blood would disguise the dead man's blood. Because it's not enough to be a full glass, it's just enough to weaken someone.
Okay. And what's Misha's part in the plan?
I think that Misha is originally not a part of the plan, but she can't help but supervise. And something goes wrong and she interferes. And that's going to reflect badly on her with her sire.
Okay. And refresh my memory. Did Lilith have a deal with the sire prior to Francesco's death?
Which sire? The
Francesco's sire. So the
no.
Okay. All right.
She would have met her probably as she was turned, as it is custom to present your fledglings to your own maker, as it is a family of sorts. So she would have known who she is. They would have seen each other at least once.
Okay. All right. We'll continue that storyline some other time. But okay, so so what's Leon's part?
Leon's part, I feel, is to, if anything, lead Francesco into into an ambush setting. Like one of those, like, Francesco, you'll never believe what I saw. Lilith is over here, and, like, she's actually going to be killing this noble in this specific place. And then just, like, hurry, we have to get there in time. And then once they arrive, be like, all right, I'll make sure that all the doors are locked and she can't escape. Guess what, punk?
And so, and then what is your plan to dispatch Francesca?
Well, I know I've described what she's done before in game, so that's already canon. I like it. So I would like to discuss what goes wrong that Mishka interferes. And maybe part of Leon's job is to not only get the blood, but make sure that those who are loyal to him are dispatched within the house.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, like, if Lilith gave him a sippy, dispatching those men is no problem.
Yeah. Oh, she would have given him a sippy, like, right before he had to do it.
Just righto, and then like starts stabbing dudes.
Yeah. But in a way that he wouldn't notice. So it's possible that maybe something goes wrong there and Mishka comes in. Unless there's something that goes wrong with Francesco. Something to lull him into a sense of security.
So tell us, what is the end result? What actually happens between Lilith and Francesco, so that way we can fill in the meatier bit.
So we can,
because I don't remember what happens.
like, she like chops off his head and burns his body, right?
There's a point where he is poisoned on the ground in a little veranda of sorts, and she literally just rips his head off and throws it. And then she goes inside and starts burning the building.
Okay. Can I add?
Mm-hmm.
Misha, at some point, something goes wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And Misha saves you, but then Francesco kills her.
Not my dear sister.
Because we don't see Misha again, you know. Misha's not
We
in
could.
your but I'm just saying for drama's sake.
No, yeah.
That we could do that. I'm also open to leaving her fate ambiguous.
Perfect. All right. So we're gonna play it out now, and I'm gonna give you guys roles. We do know we've already named it. Francesco dies at the end, but due to the random factors, the story may be a little different.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Another element that could change things. There are hunters that are after Francesco that Misha introduced as a way of distracting him from Lilith's conniving. So it could be that the hunters have started to attack. You know, they've mobilized and now they're attacking Francesco's house.
Mm-hmm.
But now Lilith is caught in the crossfire.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all like, well, fuck,
All
we
right.
did this on purpose, but now I've got to clean up the mess that I've made.
Mm-hmm.
Could Leon join Misha? Because up till this point, he's been like, the Russians, god damn it. And then, like, so in
And
this
also
moment
Misha's
where it's
all
like,
humans, they don't matter.
exactly. So to have this, like, final moment where it's like, we have to protect Lilith to make sure that we both don't fucking eat shit after this.
Come here, you.
Like, save
Perfect.
Lilith. So it's the two of us just going up against the wave of
Yeah.
hunters.
Perfect. We have 15 minutes. Let's begin with the evening.
Okay.
Lilith, you're bringing the cup to Francesco.
Here's your nightly drink, my dear husband.
Takes it and kind of waves you off and finishes writing what he's working on, takes a sip, and continues to work. Where did you get
Anything?
this one?
Your staff acquired it, I'm not sure, dear.
Tell them not to hunt there again.
All right, I would let them know. Anything else I could do for you, my love?
He looks up at you.
She just has a straight face.
No.
All right. She'll just kind of turn and leave and just wait it out. I would say maybe now, like as she's waiting for this to settle, is when we get attacks of the hunters. So that way she's out, but she can come back in for him. And then there's the whole situation with her and Mishka and Leon.
Yep. Yeah. So Leon is supposed to lead him away to another ambush point. So that's where we'll head from this. So, Francesco, go ahead and give me a fortitude roll. We'll give you +2.
9.
All right. You know, you're like, oh, this is swell. I best just down it. And you tip back the glass and with disdain set it aside. You begin to feel the dead person's blood. And because you rolled this 9, and you're wondering, is this a plot? Did Lilith do this on purpose, or are my servants the ones who have betrayed me on this? And you know that soon you will be weakened. Misha, where are you at? You know tonight's the night,
Mm-hmm.
but you're not part of the. You have abstained, as far as Leon and Lilith know.
She's taking a watchful position, probably like on a rooftop somewhere, just like keeping an eye on the like I'm pretty sure she knows the plan. Either she was told it or she like pulled strings to find out herself. But yeah, she's positioned on a rooftop, just like a dark like Batman like fur shadow,
Yeah.
and
Man.
yeah, exactly. Just keeping an eye on what's going on over there. And like I'm imagine like with like vampire eyes, just like zoom.
Give me a Moxie +2.
Okay. Am I just using Harker's stats for this?
I will just assign pluses as we go, as we feel like I feel Misha would have a +2 in
All right.
Moxie.
That's an 11 then.
Okay. Freaking hunters are coming. You got your wish.
She's watching, and then like she hears footsteps in the alley, and then she looks down, and she sees just like hunter after hunter moving with like crossbows and cloaks, and she like rolls her eyes and she starts following them.
Yeah, hooded lanterns pointed at the ground, kept close and low. You know, 'cause nobody has goggles at night. Okay. Where is Leon? Is awaiting the moment his master feels weak, or are you?
As soon as I get word of the hunters, I'm assuming that that's also like part of the plan that they have set up. So he is going to approach Francesco and let them know, hey, hunters are here. Like, that is a true fact. And that we need to get you to a safer location than right here.
And Lilith will meet you there?
That
was part of the initial discussion.
Yes, but I'll say instead of safer, a more fortified area.
Okay.
To kind of give it the like, you'll have a higher chance of defending yourself from this point.
Give me a charm roll at +1.
Ha-ha!
Lilith blood, man.
Okay, so how does luck work again? We like spend it to reroll? Is that how we do it? Right? We add
Three,
points?
it would be 3 points,
luck.
but does Leon have any luck?
Well, Lilith's charm is a +3. I would add that her own.
I was giving him a +1 for your blood.
Luck is just add my agility and my charm. So if I have a charm that's a +1, then I'd have at least 1 luck point.
All
or
right,
2 because it's luck +1.
All right. So you can add 2 to that.
Okay. That's a 9.
All right. Okay. So with a 9, Francesco, you believe him that you do need to go, whether you can preternaturally hear the hunters, and you can tell that's not a lie coming from him. But you also know that he just told you that Lilith will meet you there. And you are not, you're sure that if you are going to do something, you need to do it now. Because you know you're going to be weak in a bit.
Just reach up and pull him close. Why would she meet me there?
Because my number 1 priority is your safety. After I've secured your safety, I will go and secure her safety.
Just shove him away and stumble forward. He's noticeably weaker. His shove's not very hard.
All right, and you're heading for the let's put this in like the central part of your manor, your keep, as it were, is a chapel. This very old medieval stone 4-foot thick walled chapel. Misha, I need you to give me an agility check.
Okay.
You're playing a dangerous game with hunters.
Yes. I'm going to say she has a +1 to agility because obviously her +3 has got to be strength, right?
Yep, and definitely we already gave her the wolf's moxie as her wisdom is high for being a wolf and a hunter.
It's going to be a 7.
Okay. All right. I'm going to give you the choice. You can pull back from the hunters, or you can try to lead the hunters. You can try to get them to chase you, or you have to pull away because they're about to see you.
She's going to try and get them to chase her.
All right. Give me. I have to assume subtlety is not in your wheelhouse, so let's go with charm at just a straight roll.
Yep. No, charm is definitely her dump stat. Uh-oh. It's a 3.
Okay. All right.
You come with me.
So yeah. I know kung fu. I just knocked my camera. So what would you say is the worst outcome for you? That they don't follow you, or that they just straight up attack you?
I feel like she'd be able to hold herself in a fight. So I think it's like they spot her and think that's a distraction and then pointedly avoid her. So like they turn down a corner and she's like a wolf and she like turns at them and looks like, I'm a threat, and then rawr. And then they like look at her and they're all like, that's not what we're here for. We out. And then they all just zoop and they like double time it to to the place where they're supposed to go. And she's like,
you ain't getting me to no secondary location.
yeah.
So they huck down a couple of these bulbous bottles, and they hit the ground, and when they hit the ground, they
holy hand grenades! Oh no!
Yeah, they erupt into a flame. It's holy oil, and has kind of cut you off from them. In this way, you're going to have to go up and over to continue your race, and they probably just whack a couple shots, crossbow bolts your direction, but ineffectively.
I think her first instinct is to run directly at it, but then she winces back after hissing against the flames.
And like so the bolts come close, but just enough to fudge.
It's enough of a hesitation for her to almost lose them, and they have a lead on her now.
Okay. Leon, you're accompanying your master to make sure he gets to where he needs to be.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Give me a brains roll.
Ooh, my boy's not smart. He's handsome. A 7.
All right. You notice a little wobble in Francesco. You notice maybe a little tremor, maybe a misstep in a usually gliding, smooth countenance. So
because it is a partial success. It's not an absolute failure.
That's what you notice because of that.
I was gonna say I go to normally I would just leave him because you don't want the person that you've hired yourself out to show any sign of weakness, especially in a situation like this, given the relationship that he and I have. However, it's a danger zone situation. This is a cool spot, and so he is going to like try and like get Francesco, like not necessarily carry him. He doesn't know if like the hands-on situation, but definitely like we need to go. I will like put my shoulder underneath his arm, and like if he's like stumbling at all, if he's just like little tremors and having a little bit of a difficult time keeping up, he'll slow down just a little bit. But if he like trips or anything like that, I feel like Leon would definitely like be there to help him.
Now give me an opposed charm, your charm versus Francesco's brains or moxie.
A 10.
Oh yeah, no, you beat him.
All right,
He failed.
Francesco, Leon is proving his worth. To you, you're thinking, yes, this is what my daywalker should be. Lilith, where are you at this time?
I
Are you already
waiting.
in the chapel?
Yeah, she's waiting at the secondary location.
Okay. Why don't you give me let's make it a luck roll.
A luck roll? What do I do
Yeah,
for that?
just roll 2d6.
If I get a second d6. 2 6s. I'm not.
Two sixes. Nice. All right. Yeah, none of the hunters thought to get to the chapel beforehand. You got lucky that maybe Misha's cutting off that direction and them cutting her off kept some of the hunters from going to the chapel directly, thinking that none of them thought we need to get there. That would be the last fallback
Vampire's
point.
Chapel.
Yeah. Yep. So okay. Yeah. So I think we're at the point where we just need to find Misha. How do you proceed?
I think she's gonna hunt some hunters.
Okay.
She's gonna try and start picking them off.
All right. Give me an agility.
It's not great. It's a 5.
Oh. Okay. So Misha, we see the hunters, approaching, getting closer to the main Bailey, beyond towards the chapel. We see Leon and Francesco crossing that Bailey, and Misha whirling snows her way into like grab a hunter and snap away. And as you do, they preternaturally somehow felt you coming. The hackles on their trained hunter neck popped up, and they managed to hit you with a stake. Roll me a d6.
Uh-oh. 3.
All right. 3 points of damage, and they do not hit you in the heart, but you falter like, what? That this isn't supposed to happen. Realizing their mistake and that one of their own is in trouble, like half of them start to turn on you. Do you fight, flee?
This is where she this is where she the fight is where she does her best work. So I think that she like looks down at that stake and just kind of irritatedly yanks it out of her rib cage, and she's gonna go full on wolf form and start fighting.
Awesome. Leon and Francesco, you see this at this point. Leon, you see Misha there. She's been staked. You can't really tell because there's suddenly this swirl of snow about her. But you do see her transform into this dire snow wolf. Do you continue with your master, or do you vow to protect him at all cost and go fight the hunters?
So I see the hunters.
Yes. Basically, they've come through the inner Bailey gates, and they see you guys crossing to the chapel.
I will let Francesco go, because he knows that I am more used to him as a meat shield than an accompaniment. That is all I've ever been to Francesco. It's meat shield. So I'm going to do my best to do that.
He
And
presses a pearl inlaid gun into your hand.
I will, like, it's one of those things, like, we can't have a long, like, oh, wow, you really thought of me. Just go. Like, thank you, but go. Like, I may rank under you, but right now, you should go.
He'll give you a very somber nod before he carries on.
Leon,
Oh, I start popping hunters.
but is this a truthful situation, or is it an added part of this deception?
It is truthful because he's a military guy. Like, it doesn't matter whether or not, especially during this time period, it doesn't really matter what he personally believes. He has standards that he has to uphold. Because if Francesco lives, he doesn't want to have seemed like, oh, by the way, yeah, like,
Okay.
no, he's going to do his best to make sure that whoever is inside of this place is not messed with by the hunters that are outside.
All right. So you're letting that play out as not part of a
Just
deception.
whatever happens behind those closed doors, I have picked my side of the war, and at this point in time, it is whoever comes out of that door.
All right, and we get that scene again when you turn of the heart and the eyes, so you can like see in the dark, and your reflexes are such. Go ahead and give me an agility check to fire this inlaid pistol.
Ooh, he's a military man through and through. That is an 11 on the dice.
Nice.
It's for a total of
Nice.
12?
All right, for cinematic purposes, plow! I mean, this is just one of the hunters coming across with the crossbow. It's just straight on, perfect, like dueling form, straight through the heart, and he just spins out into the snow. Misha, give me a brawn.
Okie doke.
Misha,
The thing
please.
she's good at. Oh, come on, Misha. A 7.
All right. With your prior stabbing, you're not as ferocious as you usually are, and you snap one of the hunter's legs and drag him to the ground. But you got a 7.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he gets a silvered dagger into behind your shoulder blade. Give me a d6 damage.
All right. That one's 5. Ooh.
Yucky.
Okay. Okay, we see that swirl, that stab, the Leon coming across, Wyatt Earp style shooting, and we see the chapel door open, and Francesco start to stagger in. Where is Lilith, or is she hiding? Is she in the open? What do we see as Francesco enters?
I would like to think it's a very cloudless moonlit night.
Mm-hmm.
And this is nice chapel. It has those nice stained glass windows and the moonlight's filtering through it. And that's like towards the back of the chapel. And she's just standing there looking at the stained glass windows as Francesco just stumbles in. And she doesn't turn to him yet. She just waits for him.
And we're gonna say that the stained glass is all like red, and the white, the clear glass is the cross itself, and then there's like a golden crown above. And yeah, and so the light that's coming in from the moon is like red, and then there's this white swath that cuts across Lilith, so she's black and white, but the surrounding area around her is all blood red. Francesco, what do you say, or what do you do as you stumble in and like brace yourself on the pew as you walk in?
They've reached the doors. Leon's. He just pauses and shakes his head. What did you give me?
She turns to him slowly and just has this very calm smile. I gave you what you wanted. Your nightly drink, my dear husband.
Growls and tries to stumble forward, but just can't muster it.
You look a bit weak. Do you need help?
They'll kill you for this. My maker will kill you for this.
Always running to Mummy like a scared little puppy, aren't you?
He pats his side and tries to pull out a secondary gun. Another pro inlay gun.
She moves. She's there for a moment, and then she's gone. And she appears behind and just takes the gun and throws it away.
Let's play it out a little, because we need to end up on a veranda. So Francesco, give me an agility roll.
I rolled a 2.
All right. Okay. I shouldn't have asked for a roll. How can I play this 2 off?
I can do something.
What do you got?
She could drag him to the top of a bell tower.
All right. Okay.
Is
So
your idea.
you want a bell tower rather than a veranda?
As long as it's high up, I don't care.
Okay, perfect.
Could I throw out a possibility?
Sure.
Yeah.
Up until this point, Lilith has only had her charm power. What if this is when she goes beast mode for the first time? And it's just the end of season 2 Castlevania on Netflix, where you're literally just like shoving Francesco through walls and shit.
Yeah.
So let's say that yeah, sure. He goes to draw this gun, and Lilith just springs into her beast form and just is there in a heartbeat, and just like breaks his wrist and hucks the gun and grabs him. And the next thing we see is she like whooshes in a black streak, dragging Francesco. Francesco, do you have some not quite last words?
I think he's too stunned to say anything. He doesn't think this is happening, so he's just unfortunately along with the ride at the moment.
Okay.
I would like to think that she at first just throws him through a wall into another room where there's a staircase Up into the bell tower.
Yeah, into the bell tower, the base of the bell tower.
Yeah.
So he goes through the like because the stone wall would be crazy. Let's say like a thick medieval door. So it's still like crazy.
Yeah.
And so boom, and the stairs are there, and then we have to cut back outside real quick. I know we're overtime. We're always overtime when it's.
We're having so much fun.
We can go over once per month. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine.
All right. Misha, come on, give me some brawn here.
Come on, Misha. Start rolling well. All right, not bad. That one's a 10.
All right. Now with this, do you want to dispatch this hunter who has dug the knife into you and take some more damage? Or do you want to wound him and not take any damage?
I'm going to say wound.
All right. So you basically bite him big and just you huck him and his dagger just go flying off into the swirling snow. Now it's a moonlit night, but the wind is whipping up the snow that's all there and around. And you are able to then, as the wolf, then you chucked this hunter, and there are more there. Leon, give me an agility unless you've reached engagement range.
I feel like Leon, he was handed a gun, like a pistol, but it's not like it's a revolver. Like it's...
Oh, well, it wasn't?
I didn't think that it was a revolver. I thought that it was just like a very fancy, like...
I don't know if revolvers exist yet.
Yeah, revolvers are later on down.
Yeah, so like it would just be like a single shot pistol. So it would have bopped the first guy and been like, I'll save this gun for later, and like tucks that
1836, the revolver was invented.
Ah, we're 10 years short.
Okay. So you're amongst them.
No. I think.
Well, there would have been pepper boxes, and there would have been black powder type revolvers at that time. But
yeah.
Regardless,
this I am feeling closer to like I got the good juice before going into combat. I want to be up close and personal to the bloodshed. That sounds pretty sweet.
And as you leap amongst them, you realize that your fingers are like steel. You've gotten that extra little bump, from fresh vampy blood, and you can smell the blood that Misha has slung around already.
I also know that Misha's bleeding, and that I'm gonna
tasty too.
I'm gonna get near Misha. We're gonna party this.
All right, so give me a brawn.
Yeah. A brawn, that's an 11.
Oh, yeah, you strike down and just shred this hunter. Like basically this crossbow snaps in half as he flies backwards as we see in the moonlight, the spray of arterial blood down and out.
Oh yeah, I imagine like some kind of gets on his face and it's one of those like looks down at Misha and he just smiles and kind of licks some off of his own lips like, this is a good day.
Today's a good day to die.
Okay, Misha you went back to the bottom of the bell tower. Are you then dragging Francesco up the stairs?
Yeah, she's taking him by the collar, and she just gives him a wicked smile with like her extra sharp teeth, the black eyes of the red sclera, black veining coming from her eyes. Let's go on a stroll, dear husband. And she grabs him and just goes all the way up to the top of the bell tower.
Francesco, is there venom? Is there remorse? What is the outpouring, the feel of Francesco at this moment?
Oh, he's angry, but he can't fight back. He's just clawing weakly at her, and he's calling her all kinds of horrible names. He's
Mostly in French, or
mostly in French. Very French names. They're
or
horrible.
does his more root language or earlier languages come out?
I think towards the end, when they're reaching the top, it does come out, and it's a almost Lithuanian
Okay.
turn of phrases.
Okay. All right. Um, I think we're just gonna say, Leon and Misha, you dispatch the rest of the hunters, but you take uh, um, many wounds in the fight, because these are true hunters. Um, Misha, do you save Leon? Do you, or do we want to go with somehow you get up into the tower and go with that kind of save where it's against your own brother that you die?
Mm, Lilith would be disappointed if she lost her pet. And Misha is a pack hunter. So she will stand with the person who is fighting with her.
Okay. Leon, you have seen Misha has many wounds. The hunters fell upon her as they saw a person running across. He doesn't even have a pistol at this point.
Yeah.
And so all crossbows and silver daggers, holy water, all manner of implements of vampiric war have pierced Misha. Misha, how do you feel that? What kind of wounds are you suffering at this point that you're really, you're on the brink?
She's in her wolf form, and her pelt is just dotted with crossbow bolts, and maybe like a stake here and there. It's just all sticking out of her back, and she's bleeding the dark black ichor of vampire blood. That's what's going on with her.
All right. And then as Leon, as you strike through that first guy, basically Misha looks like she's about down, and so the hunters, most of them, turn towards you, and you're resilient. Maybe you take the first bolt. Maybe the stake. The stake is almost useless against you.
It's a piece. I mean, it's a piece of wood that somebody just shoved in my body.
Yeah, I mean it's sharp, but for some reason your ghoul toughness really fights against this. But the daggers are real, and they hurt. Though the silver, it's not a big
I'm
deal.
still
to
getting
you.
stabbed, and this sucks.
Yes, yes. And the sheer weight, like the four of them start to push you back and take you to the ground. And one of them raises this dagger. And as he raises the dagger up, Misha, you take the arm clean off. In your last, we're seeing the blood just rolling out of you, and you leap and you make that last, and that arm comes right off. And as you roll in the snow, we see the haggard breath. We don't see hot breath, but we see the end of your exhilarated heart, and that frees up one of Leon's arms, and he just takes the throat of the guy with the dagger and just dispatches rolls into and just shreds. We can tell he's going to shred. The camera lifts up. We see blood against the wall. We hear the screams of the last of the hunters.
Before the
Sure,
camera pans
sure.
away, so Leon's dispatched the hunters. He goes over to Misha, and he leans down and says, "We have ourselves a very interesting predicament. I have something you want. You have something I want. Perhaps we can broker a deal."
I think she shrinks slightly and reverts to her humanoid form.
Do we want to leave this the mystery though?
Oh, I'm totally down with that.
We'll end with this image.
Okay.
Her clawed hand reaches up, and you see her thumb press into her finger and prick open a spot of blood, and then move it towards his face.
All right. And then so that's then the sweep up. We see the bell tower, we see the stone fencing. The bell itself is slightly swaying, but not enough to be rung in the wind. Lilith, you're up there. The curses in the foreign tongue you do not understand are flowing from Francesco. What does Francesco's final moments look like?
She is grabbing him by the shirt, and she faces him to face out against the world, the forest, the hunters, the dead bodies. See, your first mistake was thinking that I would ever submit to anyone, let alone a man, let alone you.
Just swears at you in Lithuanian.
See, now, and she turns him over. I had the misfortune of you being the first thing I saw in my undead life. And I'm going to be the last thing you see. And she grabs him by the face and just twists and rips up.
As you do that, there's the smell of spring. And below the bell tower, there's a red-headed man, blood across his chest, just staring up at you, awe across his face.
She throws the head, letting it roll from the bell tower. Takes the body and she rings the bell just with one finger. She pushes this giant bell. You see the body drags down. After a few moments, you just see smoke and fire burning and blazing much faster than any natural fire would. And you see Lilith come out, this church, this chapel ablaze, backlighting her. She walks out. I would say this other figure is right in the center of the doorway away, the head in between them. She walks forward, takes the head and throws it into the chapel. And she looks to this figure and stares them down. What's your name?
He gives a gracious bow and says, "You can call me Mystarius."
Fade to black.
Fade to black.
I do want to add the caveat, the bit that when we look out of the chapel and see Beltane, we don't see Misha or Leon.
They're gone.
Yeah, so we can totally leave that a mystery. I love you guys. I love this game, and everybody who came out to watch, and everybody who watches this in the future. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, thank you.
Yes, and thank you, GB, for running this wonderful game. Thank you.
Yes.
I had an absolute blast today being a mysterious member of Lilith's past. Hey, GB, say we weren't satisfied with the show and we wanted more. God damn it, we wanted more of Graybeard. Where can we find you? What do you do?
Graybeard at Graybeard's Tavern. You can find my Twitter there. I've got basically right now I've only got a couple things going on, and I don't know if we can announce another one.
For this channel we can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, then, do you want it, or you want me to
No,
just
go for
spell
it. It's yours.
All right. So basically, I have on Tuesdays I play over on Encounter Roleplay's channel. That's uh, Last Horizon at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a sci-fi show. It's pretty crazy. We've been having a good time with it. We just got a new crew member. Check that out. Starting Thursdays, the 25th.
Yeah, I think so.
25th, Thursday the 25th, I will be here back on Indoor Adventures as we begin a new campaign, which I don't know the actual title to, but
The
I will.
Orrery of the Wanderer.
Okay, I would have never been able to say that. I'm going to be a big bugbear. Total. I have called him a bra bear, bro. Kind of bear, and so we're gonna have some fun with that. Other than that, you can see me on Sundays on my own channel playing some Darkest Dungeon, waving toys around, good times. And at 4 o'clock on Sundays, I'll be over on G Game Nights playing Monster of the Week, where I'm a crazy, flaky young lady who's nuts. And that's it for me right now.
All right, Satan, take us away.
Hey everyone, I'm Satan, and you can find me here once a month playing Lilith, a vampire mobster. And you can also, starting Thursday the 25th, find me here at Indoor Adventures playing the Ori of the Wanderer. I think I got that right. And I'll be playing Vi. She's what I like to call a professional widower of sorts. So if you're interested in learning more about her, come and join us Thursday the 25th. You can also find me 3 times a week over at the Hype Goblin channel, who is in chat because she's amazing. DMing for Jen and her and some other amazing people who have been here on this channel. These players have been on that channel before, and I hope they like it. And you can also find me Saturdays at Plot Hunters playing my buff barbarian Babelina. And anything else, just you can follow me on Twitter, and you'll find out more about me. And that's all I got.
Hey everybody, my name is Wings, also known as Danae Keener. You can find me at DanaeKeener.com. I do nerdy drawings mostly related to D&D and a lot of things on this channel. I play as Coriander the Elegant Paladin on Mondays, and as Baz the Drow Rogue Fighter on Sundays during our Tomb of Annihilation campaign. That is DanaeKeener.com.
DanaeKeener.com.
Hi, I'm Jen. You can find me over at Laughmaker D&D. I post about anything and everything. You can find me here once a month playing Beltane Hawthorne, the fae from the old world. You could also find me Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays over at the Hype Goblin channel playing Anthony Silverhorn, the Artificer Barbarian. And once every alternating week, I'm either a player or a DM over at the Legends channel, where I play a Warlock Orc to the Undying, have a lot of fun with that, and I DM my homebrew campaign on Thursdays.
Excellent. And if you've made it this far, you probably already know who I am. But if you don't, hey Acorns, what's up? It's me, your buddy, your pal, your friend, the Indoor Adventurer, the showrunner here at twitch.tv/Indoor Adventures. We use shows like this Monday and Thursday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or on Sundays at 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. As we already said, our Thursday game is on a hiatus until the 25th of this month, June 2020, because currently we are just in the process of getting everything set up. It is going to be the start of a new adventure. If you are familiar with the Acquisitions Incorporated book that ended up being released last year, it is the adventure from that, but instead of it taking place in the Forgotten Realms, we are going to have it being taken place in the future of our homebrew setting? What? So if you like our Monday game, you'll probably like our Thursday game. It's going to be DM'd by our dear friend Cyberwolf1201. He's a wonderful dungeon master. I am very, very excited to be on board for this show. It's going to be a great time. And speaking of great times, we have our Patreon set up. So if you would like to come help support the show, keep it self-sustaining, you can check out our free after show that we do called Nights in the Courtyard, where we answer questions not only from the community, but also from each other. We are going to be heading into that right now, though. So I would like to say once again, thank you so much to Greybeard for running this game. Thank you to everybody who decided to stop on by, and thank you to these wonderful players who volunteered for a one-shot over a year ago, and as such, we are now fleshing out backstories in the most improvisational of ways. But until then, we'll see you guys next time. All right, everybody. Bye-bye!